This NBA Finals Game 5 Betting Picks edition of the NBA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. You can win up to 325 times your entry with their new Pick 8. Sign up with the promo code NBA SGPN to claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. That's UnderdogFantasy.com. Make sure you use that promo code NBA SGPN. And we're also brought to you by Rhythm. Get the best data-driven props picks from Rhythm. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. Welcome, everyone, to the NBA Gambling Podcast, part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. It is Monday, June the 17th, currently 11:11 on the East Coast. Here to get into Game 5 of the NBA Finals between Dallas and Boston. Boston holding a 3-1 lead in the series, looking to possibly close it out here on their home floor to win the NBA championship. But we'll get into all that here on this episode. Spread, total, player props, and put together our Underdog Fantasy lineup, of course, with our lock-in dog picks as well. But joining me here to help me break everything down on the hardwood for the men's side of things is my main man, the superstar of the show, the villain himself, Terrell Furman Jr. Terrell, what's going on, my man? How you doing?
I'm good. Hey, it could be a poetic ending tonight. You ended on your home floor. You've had difficulties in the playoffs over the years on your home floor. This is a chance for them to right the ship.
It's a chance. We'll see. If they don't get it done tonight, there may be
If you
some
don't get it
trouble
done tonight, now all the think pieces start. I think now everybody's still in a pretty much situation of it doesn't matter when, but it's they will. Like, you just say that, hey, it's gonna happen. Like, it's gonna happen. But if you lose this one on your home floor and then you have to go back to Dallas for a game, now everybody's like, oh, all right, let's talk about this.
Yeah. Obviously, Game 4, Dallas gets the victory on Friday night in Dallas, 122-84. By far, the best offensive performance by the Dallas Mavericks through the first 4 games of the NBA Finals. Frankly, just had a great shooting night from wherever you looked at it. They were 50.5% from the floor overall, knocked down 15 of 37 of their 3-point shots, shooting right around 40.5%. The free throws continue to be an issue for the Dallas Mavericks. I don't think that's something that's going to change. That's something that, guys like Luka are going to have to work out in the offseason. Derek Lively, Daniel Gafford as well. But I think the 2 things that stuck out to me, Terrell, from Game 4 for the Dallas Mavericks side was points inside the paint. They outscored Boston 60-26, and they also out-rebounded them 52-31 in Game 4. So I guess maybe a little of a blueprint there. I know they don't have Porzingis. I don't think that he's going to play in this series. I know there was a note that came out in Game 4 saying that in certain situations, quote unquote, that he could be available for them. But it feels like it's all smoke and mirrors, something similar to what we saw last year when Tyler Hero was out and they said, hey, and he's available to play, but he wasn't out there. But you had any takeaways from Game 4 at least?
Not really anything that I can. I mean, I thought it was going to be a spot where the Celtics didn't show up. Now, did I think that they were going to not show up to that accord? No, not really. But I thought, hey, you could end this on your home floor. There's no reason to go out here and win this game. I didn't think Porzingis was going to play, because why would you put him out there in Game 4? You're up 3-0. Like, there was just no reason. It was no incentive. And whereas Luka just got, what was it? Luka had just got all the backlash from the horrible defense and the attitude and all of that stuff. Like, this Mavericks team back against the wall. Like, and they just stepped up and they got it done at home. Like, not surprising. But here, doing that again when Boston now feels the urgency. Because if you don't win this one, you're not coming home again until Game 7, and you really don't want to come home again for a Game 7.
Yeah, and we've seen what Luka's been able to do in those closeout type of games. And frankly, Luka didn't. I mean, he finished the game with 29 points in 33 minutes, right? 12 of 26 from the floor. It was 0-8 from 3-point land. Kyrie was only 1 of 6. But it was a more balanced effort from guys coming off of the bench. Obviously led by Kyrie and Luka, who did combine for 50 points before
Mhm.
Boston, waved the flag in that. I think it was like late third quarter with a couple minutes left, and Joe Mazzulla said, "All right, we're not coming back in this game. Let's not risk anybody else getting hurt, with the Porzingis injury." But Tatum only played 27 minutes. Horford only played 23. The guy that played the most minutes was Derek White. He played 31, but just it was an overall great shooting night for the Boston Celtics. But yeah, I mean, look, give credit to Dallas. Their backs against the wall. And Luka said, we only could take it one quarter at a time, one game at a time, and we'll see what happens. And I think they're still going out and having fun here. But um, anything else stuck out to you from game two? Sorry, from game 4?
No, no, I can't really feel I just feel like you had to toss game 4 out the window, like
Yeah. I just feel like it was just like one game for Boston's like, all right, we're still up 3-0. We had a bad night. We're gonna, go back home on
Joe
Monday.
Mazzulla doesn't invite you as a coach that has everybody locked in when you're up 3-0. Like, he just doesn't feel like a coach that's gonna, hey, we're up 3-0. Let's just lock in and go ahead and finish this out. Like, it's just either we're better or we're not. And they just weren't. They just went out there and said, no, we're not better tonight. We're not hitting shots. We're not going to try to hit shots. We're not going to change any game plan. We're just going to get ready to go back and do it in Boston. And do it in Boston. Now, question here: if Boston is hitting threes,
Mhm.
can Dallas still win?
I don't think so. I know we'll talk about game 5 here in a minute. I think that's the big question mark going into this game because I think a lot of those 3-pointers from game 4 for especially the ball, I should say not especially, but for the Boston side, came a lot from their bench route where it was that fourth quarter where guys were just kind of, it felt like almost an all-star game where they're just jacking up 3-point shots, and it almost got over the total, but they cooled off a little bit in the final couple minutes there. But Sam Hauser went 4 of 6 and in the garbage time. Brissett was 1 of 1. Peyton Pritchard hit 1. So again, just not an overall great shooting night there for Boston. So like you mentioned, it's one game. Now they have the opportunity to go back home and get the job done here if they can here in game 5 in Boston. Just quickly from game 4, Derek Lively had an absolutely fantastic night. When they hit that 3-pointer, I was like, all right, this is a wrap. There's no way that Boston is going to come back and win this game. But he finished the game with a double-double, had a great night, 11 points and 12 rebounds for the Dallas Mavericks side. But yeah, let's put game 4 in the books. We'll move on to game 5. Before we do get over to game 5 here tonight, couple things happening on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Number one, the countdown to football season is officially on, and SGPN has got you covered. The College Football Experience is doing individual team previews for every college football team, and also SGPN's 5-minute fantasy football podcast is your quick and dirty podcast to get you prepped for all things fantasy. So make sure you guys check out the College Football Experience and the newly revamped fantasy football podcast as well. All right, Terrell, let's move along and let's turn the page here to game 5 of the NBA Finals. Right now, as it stands, Boston is sitting as a 6.5-point favorite. Total continues to climb down game by game here. We still haven't seen a single game get over the total. Perfect 4-0 towards the under. But right now, that's total is sitting at 209.5. Again, we mentioned it that we don't expect Porzingis to play in this game. A lot of the professional, I don't say professional, the doctors that talk about these types of injuries, and our very own SGP and Doc Sebastian mentioned it as well that this is a multiple month recovery, and if he does possibly go out there, it could just make it worse for the for Kristaps Porzingis himself. So don't expect Porzingis for the rest of the series, but I know you're gonna on the Dallas side here, but what do you think is gonna take for Dallas to push this to a game 6? You're just expecting like Boston to have another bad shooting night, or there's some adjustments or things that you saw from game 4 that they can carry over to game 5 here?
It's the easy thing. You have to limit them on perimeter. You got to limit them on the perimeter. If you can limit them on the perimeter and make them shoot some 32% outside from things, because they're going to take a bunch of threes. and you just got to give yourself a chance, and then just hope that you're in the game and Kyrie and Luka can win it in the last couple of minutes. Like that's really the game plan, because it's not like you're never gonna shoot more threes than them. Never. You don't have the personnel. Tim Hardaway Jr. is a shell of himself. You have Derrick Jones Jr., who's not hitting consistently like he was hitting earlier in the playoffs.
Yeah,
Yeah, PJ Washington, who's been okay as a scorer, but he doesn't he like he's not like the Derek Whites on the outside that's gonna give you that boost as a 3-point short. He's sitting in the corner, he may hit it, he may not. And
yeah,
he's hit a couple, but that if Boston's going out here shooting a million threes and they're hitting them at some 40%, 50% from the clip, like you don't have enough offense outside of Kyrie and Luka to keep up with that. You have to limit their offensive production from three, and then take the licks everywhere else. And
yeah.
maybe you give up a semi-decent Tatum game, a semi-decent Brown game, but if it's not one of those where you're not just getting bombarded by the Derek Whites, the Drew Holidays, the Al Horfords, the Sam Hausers, the Peyton Pritchards, like if you're not getting bombarded by those guys as well, and we're talking about duo for duo, then I think they're in it. And then Kyrie's just got to wake up in Boston. And this actually feels like all right now, Kyrie, figure it out. You're here in Boston. You got to have a good game in Boston one time, like one
Yeah.
time. So I can see it, but it's just like, what are you doing on the perimeter? What's the adjustment defensively that we're gonna see? Because it can't just be Boston missing shots. Because what if those shots just don't miss this go around? Like you have to have some type of defensive adjustment that limits their 3-point shot instead of just hoping that they miss.
Yeah, and I think that you take a look, I mean, like you mentioned, right? Like Drew Holiday and Derek White were obviously fantastic at games 1 through 3, right? Like we talked a lot about Drew Holiday makes those plays that sometimes don't show up in the stat sheet. And he's a championship player, man. He's one of the better two-way players in the league, and I think he's been a huge difference maker, not only in the NBA Finals but also throughout the playoffs. Obviously, for this Boston Celtics team, especially without Porzingis, who missed 10 games before he did come back for Game 1 of the NBA Finals. But again, it's you're going on the road here, and we know Luka's going to do the Luka things, and I think you hit the nail on the head. That Kyrie's got to have to step out of it, especially on the road here going into Boston. So, I mean, I think at minimum, Kyrie's gonna have to score 20 plus points here tonight for them to have a chance to win this
Oh, he's got to
game.
be 30. For me, he's got
Yeah,
to be 30.
yeah,
There's no
and
shot. There's no way I would take Mavericks to win this game without attaching Kyrie 30 to it.
yeah. Couldn't talk you off of that, and especially if the role players don't step up, right? Like I always say that role players tend to step up at home, and we saw that for Dallas in games 3 and 4. They just weren't able to close it out, and especially in game 3. But for guys like PJ Washington, you mentioned Derrick Jones Jr., who hasn't able to knock down the 3-point shots like he did against Minnesota in the Western Conference Finals. I think those are the guys that really need to step up. But like for me, it's always come down to like what you mentioned. It's that Derek White, Drew Holiday, that depth of Peyton Pritchard and Sam Hauser, those guys being able to knock down a couple shots for you. And what both Derek White and Drew Holiday do on the defensive side is it's really what's been the difference thus far in this series. So again, for Dallas, I think it's going to have to be a collective team effort, and you need to get something out of Kyrie Irving, 25, 30 points for them to push this to a game 6 back in Dallas here. Um, I'm leaning towards Boston here. I think they can get it done here tonight. It's a lot of the comments I did read is that they're going to come out and make those defensive adjustments. And like you mentioned, right, if they are hitting their 3-pointer, I think early on we'll know if Boston's going to be able to knock down their 3-point shots or not. Because if they come out cold again, and Dallas is in this game, whether it's come in the first quarter, in the first half, I think that there's an opportunity for that team to win this game outright. Because Terrell, we saw during the regular season that Boston's just not very good in the third quarter. Like even if they have a double-digit lead, they'll leave teams hanging around, and they don't put their foot on the throat, for lack of
Mhm.
better words, right? So I'm on Boston here at -6.5. Let's get over to the total 209 and a
Well,
half.
the chat's
Oh, go ahead.
asking me. They're asking me to reverse jinxes, or
Uh,
they're asking me to just prove a
there you
point
go.
here. I haven't
Mhm.
decided if I wanted to go that route or not. But what I will say is that, for one, all the money's coming in on Boston.
Yeah.
I see currently 65% of the bet, 72% of the money. However, that spread did go down from 7 to 6.5. Just interesting. That's a food for thought, by the way. Just throw that out there. But sure, why not? Boston's on the cusp of an NBA Finals. If this isn't a time to prove, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what it proves. Because I'd be honestly, truly, I would be shocked if I wouldn't be shocked because it's not surprising. Because
Yeah.
Boston, when you think they got it, they don't. Like when you think it's 100% on them, they don't.
Mhm.
But it'd be really, really hard. Like this game five is different than all the other game fives. And if you lose this one, you're completely proving my point, and I don't have to say anything. I'll go with you. You know what? When's the last time I've done this? I actually don't know when the last time I said this.
It's probably been a while.
Yeah, it's a really long time. I can't even get the words out. I'm trying to say it. I'm trying to say it. I can't even get the words out. But it's like, and I can't tout. I just can't tout if they lose. Like that's the annoying part. I just have to go. I can't even tout. But
Yeah.
there's nothing really to tout about. So Boston, like 6.5.
So here's my question to you. Let's say Dallas does win here tonight. What probability are you giving Dallas to win
Game
this series?
6.
No, just to win the championship.
Oh, to win the champion. Oh, bro, it's still low. Like, regardless, you have to win 4 games in a row. Despite,
Yeah.
yes, you can win 2 in a row, maybe even win 3 in a row. You got to win 4 in a row. 4 in a row is hard, regardless. Like, whether you tie it up and you get to game 7, 4 in a row is hard, regardless. So it goes from maybe 80% chance they lose. So 20% chance of winning, even if they win game 5.
They're
Like you
10 to
can win
1
game
right
5.
now.
Honestly, you can win game 5. I'm probably gonna pick you for game 6, and you could win that. But when you get to game 7, you have to just think like there's a reason why there's been what is it, like 4 teams that have been able to come back from down 3-0 to force a game 7, and all of them lost, 4 or 5, including the Celtics from last year.
Yeah.
Like it's just hard once you get like you have no room for error, and it has to be injury. And I
Yeah.
don't know if maybe the Porzingis injury was enough. Maybe it was, but we'll see.
Yeah. All right. Before we get over to the total here for game 5, let me tell again everyone about our friends over at Underdog Fantasy. Pick 8 is now live for the NBA Finals. Create entries with up to 8 picks, and Underdog will automatically double flex entries, so you can miss up to 2 picks and still win your entry. With the more picks to make and extra ways to win, the excitement is higher than ever. The best part, you can win up to 325 times your original amount. Stay tuned. At the end of this episode, Terrell and I will put together our Underdog Fantasy entry for game 5 of the NBA Finals. Sign up using our promo code NBA SGPN to claim your special pick and first time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. Again, that's underdogfantasy.com. Make sure you guys use that promo code NBA SGPN. All right, Terrell, total is sitting at 209.5 in this game. Do you have any thoughts on the total here?
I'm just continue to go under.
Yeah, I think so. I think that, like I mentioned, I watched some of the press conference awards that Al Horford and guys said that I think they're going to make those defensive adjustments, and I just feel like that Dallas probably still continues to struggle on the road, putting up points. I think Game 4 for me was an outlier. Like we saw Game 1 to 3, that Dallas wasn't even able to reach the 100-point mark in any of those games, and it's not like Boston has been great offensively either. I don't think they've scored more than 110 points in the NBA Finals either. So let me just double check that. Yeah, so 84, 106, 105, 107. We were usually seeing this Boston team just walk into 115 points during the regular season, but also throughout the NBA playoffs as well. But yeah, I'm with you. I would go under 209.5 for the total here as well. Player props, what are you looking at?
I mean, I'm going back to the bigs.
Lively, Gafford.
Lively and Gafford. Yeah. Lively Gafford. Like, just continue to play that. And I think Gafford did Gafford. They had the Lively game. I can't remember which game was that we was in. I was here talking about last, but I think that it's more of, you know, you just have the old standing Celtic tradition of just kind of letting the center get off, and then Porzingis not being around actually kind of doesn't help because they could stretch the floor a little bit more with Porzingis. They can't stretch the floor the same now. I mean, you still got Al Horford, and you still got to respect Al Horford, and that's probably why I might be interested on the Al Horford threes prop, just because of the fact of they're trying to not stretch the floor. They're trying to stay as close to that painted area, dominate on the glass, and that can open things up for Al Horford. But yeah, Gafford, Lively, it's a long standing tradition. I'm gonna continue to play it.
Yeah, Gafford. I mean, he only played 10 minutes in that game for obviously it being a blowout, but it was a lively game in game four. Like I mentioned, he had that double double, 11 points and 12 rebounds. Right now, as it stands for lively
Is that
points
nine
and
and a half now?
rebounds,
Oh, point. What's points and rebounds?
17 and a half. What were you looking at? Rebounds?
Yeah. What's that? Is that 9.5 yet?
It's at 8.5 now.
Still?
Yeah. And then Gafford's at 4.5 rebounds plus 114.
I think that's just comical. That's just comical. They literally interchange them. Yeah, it's been lively a couple of times, but they take the 4.5. Take the 4.5 with the plus money. And then I would still play lively points and rebounds and sprinkle on his double double as well.
Yeah, I couldn't talk you off. I mean, look, he's averaging 5.6 over his last 5 games, but again, he only played 10 minutes, so I'm not going to take anything away in that game four. He did have 4 rebounds though in 10 minutes, so that kind of
Yeah,
tells you.
like, and I had the 4.5 in that game. I'm like, all right, is he gonna no? And you just kind of waiting, but like if the minutes goes up any more than 10, he's getting over 4.5 at plus money. Plus money just makes that worth it.
Yeah, 100%. He did have a 9 rebound game in game two where he played 23 minutes, had 13 points and 9 rebounds. You mentioned Al Horford. I do like his PRA to go over. I know Porzingis more than likely will not be playing in this game, but even if he's out there, I don't think he'll be very effective for them. But um, it's at 17 and a half. This number has been adjusted. I know game one was at 13 and a half, but that was with Porzingis being back. But obviously, this number has been adjusted. I mean, you
Uh-huh.
mentioned, right? I think that he'll be able to get some of those open 3-point shots. His 3-point prop is at 1.5. The overs at minus 135. He's been able to get some rebounds, and assists have also been there for Al Horford as well. So I think that is an opportunity for him to get over his PRA. Um, the Luka first quarter rebounds has been an ATM machine. I know DraftKings offers that. Right now, that number is now been adjusted to 9.5 for Luka. But again, like we talked about it, is that Luka comes out, he plays the first 9 to 10 minutes. The offense goes through him. His usage rate is always through the roof for
Uh-huh.
Luka. So if you want to get on Luka first quarter rebounds, that's I think I want to say it's 4 for 4 thus far in the NBA Finals through the first 4 games. So over 9.5. Those were the ones I was looking at. Do you have anything else you're looking at?
Uh Luka first quarter points, yeah. Just and I think it's the Jalen. You gotta go back to Jalen Brown. I mean, he's got to solidify his MVP and
Yeah.
cash that MVP ticket for us.
That number is 24.5 for Jalen Brown in this game. All right, Terrell, any other player props you're looking at before we get over to our picks?
No, no, I think that you said Luka rebounds, right? Yeah, we're good.
I didn't mention Luca rebounds. His numbers at, let's see, where's Luca? 8.5 for his rebounds.
Yeah, I'm still taking the over. I'm still because I still well, I might take it. I would say I might not take it because I have the for the series him being the leading rebounder, and I
Hmm.
think he's. I got to see where that ticket is going, but I do like the 8.5 rebounds. I'm still sticking by it, even though the past couple of games back in Dallas wasn't really a good back home trip for him in terms of rebounding. I think he gets back open today over 8.5.
All right. JR mentioning and the
His
guys
steals
mentioning
is
as well.
I do like the steals 2, 4, 1, and 3.
Let me see what the number is. Lucas steals. Yeah, 1.5 is at -110 in this game. You also mentioning Gafford rebounds. Oh, sorry, blocks. I think, yeah, he's recorded at least a block in 3 of the 4 games. He didn't have one in game one, but Gafford did have a block in games 2, 3, and 4. And his over half a block, currently over on DraftKings, is at -155 for him to get one block. So you play it straight up, or if you're a same game parlay player, I think that's a good one to throw into your same game parlays. Definitely for Daniel Gafford. All right, Terrell, before we get over to our picks for tonight, let me tell everyone about our friends, the newest sponsor over at the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. That's going to be Rhythm. If you're betting on NBA player props, then you need to download Rhythm. Rhythm is the go-to sports betting tool that transforms complex data into actionable insights, empowering bettors with smarter, data-driven decisions. Unlike other platforms, Rhythm combines advanced predictive analytics with an intuitive user experience, making betting both easy and enjoyable. Rhythm's predictive models were born from the brains of MIT data scientists and quants with over 3 years of data that help drive you to better AI backed betting decisions. Rhythm is great at identifying value on bench players. Rhythm was on Hauser over 5.5 points in game 4 and absolutely nailed it. So claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. All right, Terrell, let's get into our lock and dog, and then we can put together our Underdog Fantasy entry before we wrap up the show here. You want to go first?
Yeah, sure. I'm not doing anything different. Lock under 209.5 for the game. I mean, you can look at they've been just playing around with this line. Game 1, it was at 217.5. That went under, so they decided to drop it by 2. Game 2, 215.5. That went under. Started to drop it by 2 again. Game 3, 213.5. That went under. Here we go. Game 4. Maybe something different happens. Game 4, 211.5. It goes under. They dropped it by 2 points again for game 5, and we're at 209.5. I'm still gonna roll with it. I mean, we're 4-0 at this point. They couldn't sweep the series, but they're sure sweeping the under. Let's just keep going with it. Under 209.5. Nothing really to think about there for me. For my dog, just give me Jaylen Brown 30 plus, and he solidifies his case for no matter what happens on the scoreboard. He scores another 30 here. He pretty much solidifies his case for Finals MVP. And hey, man, you got the big contract. Might as well grab you a Finals MVP while you at it. And you don't know how many times you're going to get this opportunity, too. So, Jaylen Brown, 30 plus points, is at plus 270. It's my dog.
Love it. All right. For my lock, I'm glad that you picked the under because it just kind of correlates to what I really like in this game. Is Dallas team total under 101.5. Mentioned the first 3 games, didn't reach the 100-point mark. I think the game 4 was an outlier because that was their backs against the wall. You lose that game, you're going home. And that team showed up in a big way. But I think Boston makes the defensive adjustments here. I think this will be, what we saw in the first 3 games, slower paced. Dallas struggles a little bit. I think Luka maybe turns out to be the only offense. If Kyrie struggles again, it's just going to be an uphill climb for them offensively for this Dallas Mavericks team. So Dallas team total under 101.5. And then for my dog, I'm going to go Al Horford, 3 plus 3-pointers made at plus 215. I think if they're going to leave him open, I think we've seen the Al Horford game throughout the playoffs. Like he always has that one game where he puts up 20 plus points, and he just turns back the clock. I think this game might be it because again, they're in a situation where they're going to be able to close it out if they shoot better tonight and make their defensive adjustments. I'm not saying it's going to be led by Al Horford, but again, when he gets those open shots, I think that he's going to be able to knock them down in this game. So I'll go Al Horford 3 plus 3s at plus 215 as my dog. All right, last
I like
order
that,
of business.
JR. I like that, JR. I would parlay all of X on props together. I think you got to play. You have to play X on this game. You can't go down with Tim Hardaway Jr. Like you can't. You can't go down on the shit with Tim Hardaway Jr. You got to play Exum heavy in this game. And I think off of the value of the usage alone, he's going to go over similar to the Kyle Anderson play that we had a little way back when. I would just
Mm.
parlay X some stuff, and you're probably going to get a nice juicy price on it. And I mean, even if it's a blowout, like he's got a chance to go over. So it's a lot of ways that he goes over, but you can't go down with Tim Hardaway Jr. Like you just can't end your season with Tim Hardaway Jr. right now.
Dante Exum's points prop is at 2.5.
Yes, like no, it's really insane, but it's because he's not getting the minutes. But I'm just saying, there's no way I'm going down with Tim Hardaway Jr.
Yeah.
Like Dante Exum gave them so many good minutes throughout the year, like so many good minutes when people were injured, like he's giving them so many good minutes. Just go out there and say, you know what, Dante, just go out there. It's the finals, have fun. And if his have fun is some 8-9, 3-4, whatever his lines are, like I think he's gonna put up some numbers. So
I think that I know Jason Kidd came out and mentioned that he probably would have wanted to use Dante Exum more because especially in game 4, he was out there with Luka, and if you notice in the minutes that Dante Exum was out there, like he was the one pushing the pace. And hey, if they got something down the court, they could get like an easy basket or something. Dante Exum was that guy to facilitate that. But if they didn't already, he would pull it back out, get it back to Luka, and get in their half court offense. So that might be something that um that they replicate in game 5 because it worked well for them in game 4, just pushing that pace with Dante Exum. If it wasn't there, all right, let's pull it back out. Let's give it to Luka to set up our half court offense and go from there. But he's obviously, good for knocking down maybe a 3 or 2 for you as well. So I think that's a great call by JR. Yeah, definitely co-sign that.
yeah.
All right, Terrell, let's do our Underdog Fantasy entry here for tonight. Again, underdogfantasy.com. Make sure you guys use that promo code NBASGPN. We're in I want to say we're still in the clubhouse with the lead across the competition we're having with the other shows across the network. So we want to finish the season out strong and the month out strong as well. I know we got WNBA player props on there as well for Underdog. So again, do us a favor, support WNBA show, support us here on the NBA show as well. And hopefully we're celebrating a victory and some bragging rights at the end of the month with the other shows across the SGPN network. All right, Terrell, where do we want to start here for tonight for our entry?
I think JB's got to be in there.
Okay, you want to go points?
Yeah.
All right. We'll throw that in there. Higher 24.5 points for Jaylen Brown.
Dude, they got that Lucas Steals play. I like that one.
Yeah, that's a good call. Let me see if I can find it. Where's Luka?
And you got to think Luka's going down with the ship. Even if they're getting blown out, Luka's going to be out there. Like last game of the year, might as well be out there.
Yeah, I see 1.5 steals, and I see blocks and steals at 2.
Any of them spicy?
No.
Sorry, because he has 0 blocks.
Yeah. That they had the blocks is spicy at 1.5, but the steals is just a regular old higher.
Yeah, he has 0, but he has 0 blocks on the entire series. Let's just take steals.
Okay, we'll go higher 1.5 steals. You want to go like Gafford rebounds or Lively rebounds? Or points and rebounds?
I'll let you make the final call. Which one?
I feel like Lively's going to get more of the minutes, so I would maybe go his
points and rebounds. Hope for a pick and roll. A lot of pick and roll action with Luka.
17.5 is the number for him.
Okay.
All right.
He's been good, man. Like since Porzingis been out, he's been really good. Why stop?
Yeah, and progressively through the playoffs, like he's gotten better every game and every series as well. So they definitely have their big man of the future for sure with Derek Lively. All right, so we'll do.
I'm 100%. I'm 100% watching links and wings over this game. 100%. It'll probably be on the small screen. I'll probably have this game on the smaller screen, but I'm definitely locked into the WNBA.
All right, so just to recap our entry here for tonight, we're gonna go Jaylen Brown higher 24.5 points. We're gonna go Luka higher 1.5 steals. Then we'll go Derek Lively higher 17.5 points and rebounds. That standard entry of $10 will get you a return of $60 for NBA Finals Game 5 for our Underdog Fantasy entry. So hopefully we're celebrating that at the end of the night. All right, that's going to wrap it up for this edition of the NBA Gambling Podcast. Terrell, anything else you want to mention before we get out of here?
Oh man, our season could potentially be over, man.
Potentially,
Are
yes.
we coming back next year? Who knows? I heard that they're, buying people out and people are having their last years. Maybe, I don't know, maybe we're on a farewell tour as well. We got to see. We need those likes, those comments, those subscriptions, all of that to make sure we continue to have seasons as well.
Yeah, we definitely need the reviews as well. So again, a great time to help out the NBA Gambling Podcast as well. But hey, just because the NBA may be over tonight, possibly. You still have WNBA through the summer and into October. So make sure you guys tap in with my guys, Terrell and Scott. Been absolutely crushing it for the WNBA. So this would be a great time to be subscribed to the NBA Gambling Podcast YouTube channel, because when they do go live for WNBA, you'll get that notification. Terrell, what's the updated lock record?
Let me see. As you was talking about it, I realized I didn't update it from yesterday. So Scott is now 12-9. He is hitting at 57% of his locks. Tell me why I had the Sparks team total over 77.5 as my lock. They had, what was it? They started that third quarter with 10 points in the first 3 minutes, in the first 7. I don't know. It was something crazy. And then they didn't score for like the last 3 or 4 minutes of the game, except for like some random three. Like we were paced over, we were going over, and it was something crazy like that. And I'm just sitting there like watching the score not go up, not go up, not go up. And I'm like, oh, we're losing. And so that unfortunately has brought the lock record down to, this the first double locks that I've lost. Actually, I've never lost back-to-back loss this season, but 17-4, 81%. I am now 17-4 on this season.
Hey, doesn't get better than that. They probably made a phone call
now we
Terrell
just
has a
have
lock
fun
on this game. Yeah, now
we just
now
have
you get
fun.
you build that record up. Now you have
Yeah.
some wiggle room there to
And it's
but
like the pressure is now off, because I'm not gonna lie, I don't think I felt pressure until I think when it was 10-1. That's when I was originally like, oh man, let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, 10-1. That Mercury -5 bet, and then on, that's when I was like, all right, I feel the pressure to perform now, because now this is a thing. People are now paying attention to this thing. But now I just lost 2 in a row. So now I feel all the pressure's off. The heater's over. I can just go out here and have a ball. But again, I'm not sure there's too many people that's better than 81% than me in the WNBA. Not gonna lie.
highly doubt that. Make sure you guys leave a review as well for the WNBA Gambling Podcast. Definitely helps out and grow the show for Scott and Terrell. So do us a favor if you haven't already. Take some time out. Leave one for the NBA. Leave one for the WNBA. Make sure you guys subscribe. Tap in with my guys when they do the WNBA Gambling Podcast. All right. We'll talk to you if there is a game 6 later this week, and we'll have off-season content as well for NBA. But again, like we mentioned, WNBA is here till October, so make sure you guys tune in with Scott and Terrell. All right, make sure you guys follow Terrell on Scott. Sorry, make sure you follow Terrell and Scott on Twitter. You could follow Terrell at reallyrail__. That's both Instagram and on X. You can follow me there as well on X. That's at SportsNerd824. We'll give a shout out to Scott as well for the WNBA. Make sure you follow him at Reichel Radio Tennis as well. I know he's been crushing it as well. So a lot of stuff still going on in the sports world. I appreciate everybody in the chat, man. You guys make it a lot of fun. We'll talk to you guys later this week. Till then, good luck with your bets. Let's break these books off and let it ride.